How often do you guys talk to yourself? Too much. I might be crazy. Incredibly often. I often speak as if I'm explaining something to somebody to make things more clear to myself. That's exactly how do I it. I always have a mental image of a friend or a family member as the listener too. "Aye bro, how's it going? Nothing much view. Kinda sad though cause no one remembers my b-day. Oh, well then happy birthday cake shortcake. Thanks man smiley face. Usually when I'm stressed, so like 24/7, basically. Every time I think I talk to myself. I talk to myself more than I talk to others. Regularly throughout the day. On a daily basis. Username checks out. Sending virtual hugs. Whenever I want to vent but there's no person around to vent to. Only when I want an expert's opinion. Often if I have the house to myself. Hearing myself say things helps me decide if I think they are true or not. Same thing applies to when I'm talking aloud to other people. So I end up having to walk a lot of things back milliseconds after saying them monsieur. Pretty much on a daily basis. Making plans. Expressing thoughts. Confessing fears. Self-criticizing. All in a day's work. I dunno if this is normal. Or if I should find some help. But it hasn't prevented me from functioning normally. So I think I'm okay. In any case. Yeah, you're not alone up. A shameful amount. I'll recite whole ass scripts and scenes to myself while using a broomstick as a spear, bow staff. I use being a writer as an excuse for being cringy as fuck. Well, if I had a friend who I talked to the way I talk to myself, they wouldn't let me be their friend for very long. Never. I know myself well enough to not want to hold a conversation with me. Whenever I'm by myself, which is basically like 85% of the time I'm awake, so pretty often. In my head, 80% of the time. Every second of every day. Almost always. Constraint monologue. Are there people who aren't thinking all the time? Surprisingly, there are. Humans come in very diverse mindsets. OMG, I hate shitty textures. It's a horrible pet peeve of mine. Op, you good? All the time smiley face. I'm the only one that listens crying face. Every day. Every few hours. Several times a day for expert advice. Do people not talk to themselves? Because I think that's weirder than not. All the time. This can't possibly be healthy. I talk to myself when I'm anxious or doing tasks. Whenever I'm trying to do a task by myself that takes a bit of concentration, I'll basically tell myself what I'm doing. I guess it helps with keeping track of what I'm doing. Focusing loner. Flipping always. It annoys me. At least once a day. Whenever I'm on my own. Might be maladaptive daydreaming. I mumble my thoughts out loud whenever I'm doing something boring. Mostly at my job. All the time. I don't often talk to myself out loud, but I'll have whole ass conversations with myself in my head. I am my own best friend. I've been told I need to work in voice acting for my impersonations and accents. The only reason I'm good at it is decades of practice talking to myself and very early on. Getting tired of my own voice. Whenever I need expert advice. Whenever I masturbate. Quite often, but especially while I am watching a movie alone. I'll run my own country and even say things like, "Hey future caboose for life, make sure you don't forget about this shot of a tree branch falling." It could be foreshadowing. Always in the bathroom, or sometimes and annoyingly mid-fap I'll have a random question pop up and then go Google it and end up going to Quora reading people's answers and then end up talking to myself and then go back to fapping and possibly redo this all over again. All the time. As this whole COVID thing goes on and I have less and less human contact, it seems like quite a bit. Regularly in the mornings. I can't start my meetings with the just woke up voice. I don't live alone, so almost never. All the time. I'm the only one who makes any sense. Bro, if I didn't talk to myself as often as I do, I would probably go a little bit insane. That being said, whenever I don't have a real person to talk to, I was home alone for the first time in a while today, so I had an hour-long conversation with myself in a British accent with several characters while I was playing games and eating goldfish and wandering around the house. So to answer your question, I guess sometimes I feel too vulnerable exposing this. Is it bad that I'm kind of curious how the story goes? Whenever I'm begging for a new job, all the time, it helps reduce stress. I've been with my boyfriend like 3 months now and we talk every day. He's a shitty texter, so sometimes we text often. Sometimes it's 5-6 texts a day. Sometimes I get anxious when he doesn't talk to me for 6+ hours, but honestly not having to be in constant contact feels a lot healthier than the alternative. I walk around at work by myself, so I have to talk to myself all the time. Yeah, I agree. I'm feeling hungry. Shall we get a snack or something? IDK I think I have to finish up the project due next Monday. What's your opinion, me? Okay, we'll do that, then get a snack. Sounds good? Alright. All the time. Every time I play alone. Often. And as long as I am not surprised by the answers I get, I am not worried. When I was a kid, I used to talk with myself a lot. I created a lot of stories and situations in my head. Now I wouldn't say I talk that much. All the time. Like I am constantly talking to myself as though I'm broadcasting my life. I also tend to refer to myself as we. I don't do it around people though. Way too much. I have a running conversation with myself on my head. Hell, if I'm alone I'll even talk out loud to myself. It has reached a point where I might ask a question out loud and proceed to answer it myself out loud. I also sometimes mumble the things I'm thinking, only whilst playing VR. Every day, I'm talking to myself while typing this, asking myself if I should even send this. I have a group chat with myself for that. Whenever I'm alone, which is sadly every fucking hour day. Always. For some reason more when I'm in the toilet. Any toilet. People must find me crazy. Nah, not the toilet, that's when I use my phone. You can talk to yourself. You can answer yourself, but when you feel the need to pardon yourself, that's when you know something's wrong. I never used to, but my roommates have been restricted from re-entering the country for almost 3 months now, and I'm finding myself doing it more and more. Daily. Or more like hourly. Did you hear that? Precious. This guy on Reddit wants us to tell him how much we talks to ourselves, but we ain't. Filthy hobbitses. Wait, did you just assume my gender? How dare you assume my gender in 2020? Should we kill him in his sleep and eat him? Precious. I usually talk to my dog, but it's the same effect. Constantly. In doing it right now. Every day that ends in AY. Very often. Mostly in front of a mirror. I am practicing speeches and explain ideas to myself. I also sometimes pretend like I am in a theater. I think my talking, and sometimes acting, to myself as a replacement. I've never found time to join a theater group even if I really feel like I should. Some weird coping system I have. At least 5 sentences per hour every single day. But sometimes a constant flow of words for a few hours, like if I'm looking at the moon and just freely speaking with myself. It fluctuates, but it's a lot. When my mom thinks I'm talking to friends on Discord, but I'm just narrating what I'm doing in Minecraft to myself, every night, while laying in bed before falling asleep. I don't like that talk at all, it's scary. Multiple times a day. Less than I should tbh. I've used it before to get out of my head and put my words into something more than just fleeting thoughts. When no one is around me, really helps me sort out my thoughts lol. Out loud a lot to make sure I am not losing my mind. It's when I hear someone talking back that I get worried. One sec, let us finish this conversation. Give me a minute, I'll ask. LMAO, ask who? Lol. You can't kill me if I'm already dead inside. Same, sometimes I get caught and I get embarrassed. Mostly as self-control, so a lot. Don't take that cookie, you had 3 already. constantly. My internal voice refers to it in myself as we. Is that normal? Actually, I talk to myself in second person all of the time, as if my mind and my other mind are different beings. Except when I talk to myself with second person, I'll often respond as if I can't hear myself while also acknowledging that the voice was mine. I definitely identify with this. Often I find myself saying to myself, if I was you I would, etc. To which I reply to myself, you are me. Ah, I'm glad. I was worried my explanation made no sense. I talk to a person in my head who's not me. This person has a different personality and goals. So I often talk to this fake person in my head when I need a different perspective on something. Often, I like to talk. I as well use it to learn, making decisions, or letting off steam, monsieur. A lot more than I did before quarantine. Recently too much. Went through a very hard breakup and found out that I'm autistic. The first words I've said to someone else in a few weeks was this morning. Being alone and talking to myself too much isn't healthy. Don't do what I do. Quite often, I seldom change voices for the different personalities that live in my head though. That gets awkward at parent-teacher nights. Every single day. Me. How often do I talk to myself? Also me. I don't know why you asking me. Okay, so I think the answer is 24/7. I think I talk to myself more than I talk to my own best friend. Are we talking about talking to myself out loud or internally? Either way, more than any sane person should. I dunno man. How often? I'd say pretty often. All day I'm answering interview questions that nobody asked. Whenever I need an expert opinion on something. This thread is making me feel better about going into full Let's Player mode when I'm playing video games. Pretty much anytime I need to think through something. Other times when I need to complain or swear at something. 24 hours straight, no break. All the time. I usually do it all the time, like even in class and before going to bed. LMAO, same lol. At least something we can agree on. 24/7. Is that normal? Like sometimes I scream randomly when I'm home alone. Is it crazy to talk to yourself? All the time. But I'm not crazy. I just think out loud. More than I should. All day every day. Only when my cat is in the room, monsieur, then I look to her for opinions. Very. All the time. Especially when listening to podcasts. I have Asperger's, so I'm on the autism spectrum and have a hard time socializing. I feel like pretending like I am on a podcast or answering interesting questions gives me practice for when I need to give an actual response to someone in a conversation. It actually helps a fair amount. Especially when the other person actually cares about what you have to say. Sometimes people only ask you questions to make fun of your responses, which really confuses me, but I work in a kitchen and I'm getting better at it. TL. Doctor every day. I'm autistic and I need practice. I don't know. Let me ask the 13 other people in my head real quick. All the time, at least once in 2 days. I talk to myself so much that I have been given weird looks or creeped at others when I'm oblivious to their presence. It's a natural state of mind for me to practically vocalize my thoughts like I'm talking to a therapist. I think with my mouth. I even laugh at funny thoughts in my head loudly and extensively. Most people who know me see this simply an idiosyncrasy of me. Though I've never been accused of having mental illness. Too much. I might be going fucking insane. WAAAAAY too much. If I'm not around other people, which is a lot, I'll probably be talking to myself the entire time. It's mostly in my head, but I've caught myself rambling to myself out loud for long periods of time. And that's when I know it's time to get out of the house for a bit lol. IDK. It's mostly just saying my thoughts out loud. I used to do it a lot more. A lot. Mostly just daydreams. But as soon as I snap back into reality, I have an oh shit, they could hear every word I just said moment. All the time. It helps me think and multitask. It's like each person has a different job or multiple jobs and they combine together to make, well, me. For example, I would be looking up random videos on YouTube while playing a game and doing some math in my head to find out efficient ways to solve whatever problem I have at that moment. If I need to make alts or upgrade gear, what class would be faster at what levels, or what amount of materials do I need to not be at a loss? If I'm unlucky, I usually always play my games efficiently, so thinking about them is pretty common. So one part of my mind focuses on the video so that I can understand it and pull information, while the other focuses on the game stuff. If, for whatever reason, the game's math doesn't add up, my game side will ask the video side why, and the video side looks at it with an outside view like he's never seen it before. I'll be honest, I've never thought about it, but it actually sounds really crazy, but I swear it's not. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.